Today we're looking at the Lelit Bianca. This is actually the Golden Sand limited edition machine, but there's a whole range of different options you can have. We're going to take a deep dive into the specs of the machine, looking at is there actually the value on the internal versus the external, and is it a machine that you should be looking at when you're looking at the dual boiler rotary pump with a HX head option. There is no doubt that if you're looking for a new home espresso machine in the mid to high end range, you will come across the Lelit Bianca. And this is what I have here. This is actually the Golden Sands edition. It is strikingly beautiful. I want to say that to start. The beautiful color with a little speckle in it, this special custom timber that they have really does tick a lot of boxes for me. I'm very excited about it. I've had the pleasure to play with this machine for quite a few weeks now. And for me, to be honest, I've been playing with a lot of brands. You'll see all the other stuff that we've been using for many years. And it's always been a machine that I kind of downplayed. And I've just said, look, you know, go and have a look at it, but maybe the quality's not there. Is it the value? Yes, no, whatever. But I guess from not being able to touch or feel it, it was probably a little bit biased, let's say, because we had some great products we were using and we still stand by those recommendations, there's no doubt. But actually getting to touch and feel this machine, I hope this gives you a really true indication as to whether this is a machine that you should look at. So there's quite a few things to go through, so bear with me and I hope I answer all the questions for you. So let's start on the outside. It looks beautiful, there is no doubt. So out of the box, you have a couple of options where you can buy this machine with customization. It's kind of like Lelit has just thrown in customization without the price tag, because you get all these beautiful timber accented pieces, you get a color option on the outside, you get extra handles in your package as well that matches the same timber, and you can have it at the moment in this Golden Sands option. There is a black with timber, a white with timber, a stainless steel with timber. So there is pretty much something standard in the whole range that suits every customer. So that is not seen on any other brand at the moment in the marketplace. So that's a huge win. When you start to look at the actual design and layout, there's certainly things that they're doing a little bit different. If we start at the top here and work our way down, we do have larger size steam tap housings. So it is a better quality product. They can be serviced. And for the steam and the hot water, we do have the Cool Touch wands. You come down to your steam tip. At the moment, it's got a two-hole tip, and I believe there's a 4-hole tip in the pack as well. We do have the same on the hot tappers. On here, the Cool Touch. When you start to go through the brew group, you can see we do have flow control. Now that is a huge addition, and I'm going to come back and talk about flow control because this is the manual paddle, and there is a digital option here as well, which we'll dive into a little bit deeper. When you're going to vary this pressure, you're going to see your gauge on the front here, which reads the pressure that it's applied to the puck, where on the front, down the bottom, we've got the double gauge. One is showing you the steam pressure and one is showing the rotary pump pressure. So you'll see the difference between rotary pump pressure and what you apply to the actual coffee puck. When you come into your group head, this is what we see. They call it an L58E, or commonly known as an E61 style group head. And that is a lot across a lot of different ranges or Italian made machines. When you look at your handle offering, this is the naked, and you do get a double spout as well. I'll dive into that package a little bit more a little bit later. And then you've got your main on and off button and a digital access menu. Now there is a lot in here to dive into. The key thing is it tells you the temperature. It becomes a shot timer when you start to brew, and it's how you access all the changes in the actual menu. I'll come back to that. Looking at the drip tray, it's a big drip tray, there's no doubt. And it's solid, there's plenty of room, the grill's great. They don't just do metal on metal. There are all these little rubber grommets that go around to stop things like rattles that happen in machines. So that's a nice little touch. You can plumb this machine in and have the drain run down into a hardwired hose and down into your drain under your bench. And that's because you do have your rotary pump, which is basically a full-size pump allowing you to have a filter and mains water, and that really does help with flow control as well. In here, little touches like a little hole here cut out where you can pop in your blind basket so you don't have to go down in the cupboard and find it. We do see that on a couple other machines, but also this little touches about where you're sliding a drip tray in. If you've had a machine before, this part can actually, if it's painted, it will end up scratching, but also it can mark your drip tray. So they've got these little rubber pieces, and they're not just normal little rubber pieces, they're branded Lelit rubbers. So a bit of attention to detail there, which is fantastic. I'll pop that tray back in. It's definitely a large size tray as well. So you could do, you know, a couple of days worth of coffee mess sitting in there and you wouldn't have to worry about removing it. You do have your overflow here, which is coming from the anti-vax from the double boilers that are inside the machine, and also the pressure safety valve as well. So you're not going to have any steam coming out the top of the machine if you do have an issue in future. If any steam or water is constantly coming out of here, you'd want to go see your service tech, but it's nice and safe that it does go into the drip tray there as well. You've got these nice little accented timber feet as well, which gives it a little bit of space to be able to get under the machine and clean there a little bit, which is nice. As you come around to the back, the key thing that Lelit do here in the Bianca is the ability to move this water tank around. It is a 2.5 litre water tank, and by undoing a top screw and the bottom screw, but you can essentially move this to the right side or the left side of the machine, allowing you to push the machine right up against a back wall. If you've got a short bench, that could be quite handy. If you're looking to plumb it in, you could totally remove that, pop it in the cupboard and not have to worry about it. Again, with the water tank, when you do take the top off, you'll see these little rubber grommets. They're the same ones that are used on the drip tray there, so it's a nice touch. It does stop any rattles happening in this machine. And to be honest, that is something across a whole range of machines that we do find. Drip trays rattle, top cup rate trays rattle, just random things start to rattle when you use a rotary pump. In the water tank, there is, again, attention to detail with these two little handles that you can pull out the water tank to go and fill. At your tap, you've actually got a little date system with these tabs, and you can adjust them to perhaps talk about the internal filter that comes in the box, or perhaps a reminder for you to change your water filter on your plumbed in system. Either way, it's just a handy little guide to give you a reference every time you go to use or refill your water tank. In terms of the aesthetic, it definitely looks pretty. You know, you've got the beautiful timber, the nice colors, it's got a great stance on a bench. The couple of things that are a bit unique about this machine: there is no cup rail. So you could definitely only have one stack of cups on there. There's nothing there to stop them falling off. The back water tank, well, it kind of looks like a backpack that you kind of threw on the coffee machine. From the side, it doesn't really flow like a lot of other machines where they have the tank incorporated into these rear panels. So if that's something that you're worried about, the look's a bit unique, but definitely there's a lot of added value there by being able to remove it or put it off to the side. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but for me, it's not too big an issue. If I was plumbing it, I would definitely take it off and get rid of it. I wouldn't want to leave it on there. It just seems a bit weird when you're going to plumb it in. Your top cup rails, well, it's okay. It's solid and durable, but I wouldn't say that it feels as good as the quality in some of the other machine. I think it just feels a little bit unique. Some machines do the cup rails really well. This does feel like a bit of a barbecue grate. But at least when they put it on the top of the machine, it's not metal on metal, which a lot of machines do. They have four rubber grommets there, which are going to suspend it and stop it from vibrating. So it's a win. It's probably just not my preferred option there. But great that it's not going to vibrate. The packaging with Lelit is fantastic. You know, they have a double box, and the way that you pull this machine out of the box is really smart. 2 people, because it is quite heavy. It's about 35 kilos, so you can pull that out with a couple of cardboard handles essentially. So that's really neat. In the top of the box, you get this full accessories kit. And when I say full, it's full. You get everything. So as I showed you before, you get your naked portafilter handle. You do get a double spout portafilter handle as well, which has this unique designed double spout. Look, it's nice, it's neat, and it does allow you a flat platform when you're putting it on the edge of your bench. In terms of baskets, you get 2 of the same baskets. So it would be good to actually have a bigger basket, maybe a straight wall 21 gram, allowing you a little bit of flexibility between them. You don't get your single spout handle, but you do get your single spout basket there as well. So your 7 or 9 gram what are they calling it there? They're calling it a 9 to 11 gram, so quite a variable amount that goes in there. They do have the timber matching tamper there, which is a 58.55 millimeter. So that's pretty specific. It's a nice flat tamper, and it does have this extra little lip here. So the 0.55 is kind of like a big step that we've talked about in other videos. So it won't bind as it goes straight into the basket. So that's actually a very good quality tamper. And I like that it is flat. That's a preference that we would have for sure. And beautiful little accents of the brand. And it feels nice. It's a good timber finished tamper. You get yourself a little cloth. You get your cup raising, so if you do have espressos, you can raise up your cup and not have that espresso fall as far. You get your filter and softener, which you can pop straight into your water tank. You get some cleaning, so you get 3 little satchels there to be able to look after your front group head. You've got your blind basket, your 4-hole tip. You get a coffee scoop, a group head cleaning brush, your hard-walled hosing for your water plumbing straight into the rotary pump, and you get the drain hose as well, which looks to be quite a good length. And you get this little bottle, which is a bit weird. It says Pulley Milk Liquid Scale Inhibitor. So that must be to clean your milk frother. It's a bit unique, haven't seen that in other machines. So there's a lot of the glossy things that we look at, the external and some of the things that you get as a pack. But let's start diving into the actual machine. You do have the dual boilers here. So the front boiler is a 0.8 of a litre size, which is obviously individually controlled by a digital processor through here. At the moment you can see it standardly is showing at 98 degrees, and you can change that depending on the coffee that you want. Now 0.8 is not a bad size. Some machines go down to about 0.4 or 0.5, so having a bigger amount gives you a little bit more of a robust size for when you start to brew more coffees. Now they say 24 minutes to heat up. So if you've looked into a HX machine or an E61 style group like this, there is a thermosiphon that has to happen. So you do need some time to make sure that the water is making its way in and out of that head and naturally starting to siphon. Even though you do have your own boiler attached to this, you can start to flush it and run water through quickly, but we all know that there may be a little bit of drop. Now, there are some other videos out there that nail in this, so go and check those out. But essentially, to combat that, inside here, you've got an offset, and you could utilize that. So if you've got it set to 98, but you're getting 93 degree water in your brew group, you can have an offset of 4 or 5 because you know the loss between what the boiler's set at to what you're getting at the front. Now, whether that actually works or not, some people have done some other tests, again, check out those videos, but at least the technology's there to try and help you combat those issues. The rear boiler is 1.5 litres. Now, I want to dive into this a little bit more because people think when they go to dual boiler, they've got so much more capacity. Well, I think that's a bit of a myth. It's more about flexibility over capacity. Because that 1.5 litres is going to be cut in half, and you're going to have half of steam and half of hot water. So you've basically got a 750 mil capacity of steam reservoir that allows you to pump out steam to do multiple coffees. And same with the hot water. You could take out quite a few, long blacks or teas or whatever you like. And it's going to have to recover when that happens. What some people don't realise when they go to dual boilers is you're halving some of the capacities. So if you're looking at a similar machine like this in just a HX, it would be 1.8 litre boiler, and essentially that steam capacity would be 900 mils, and the hot water would be 900 mils, because it's half of the 1.8s. So technically, it's got a bigger reservoir than what a dual boiler has. So that's where I think the double steam tips help you to adjust with those variables. So I found it did take a little bit longer to steam the milk with the 2-hole, but the quality was fantastic. It was nice and silky and smooth. I wasn't just blasting all of that reservoir of steam out quickly through the 4-tip hole. So one thing that I've been really curious about is to what the design and the componentry is inside here to find out if it's cheap or there's some quality. So let's take the top off and have a look inside. So I've just removed the top drip tray cover there, and you have to take the water tank screws out to be able to take the top off. There's quite a few screws in there that hold it together to keep it nice and firm. Probably the most screws I've ever had to remove to get inside a machine. So having a look in here, is this what I expect? Well, it's definitely the first time looking in here. And look, to be honest, it does look like a higher end valued internals. At first glance, not seeing anything that's cheap and nasty, that's for sure. So we've got the big full-size stainless steel boilers. They are insulated there for the rear boiler, and the front brew boiler is insulated as well. We've got all the standard copper pipe that we'd see to steam taps or to the E61 group head as well. It's good to see the expansion valves that are used on other machines. We've got a big full-size commercial solenoid in there as well, which looks like it's the inlet solenoid. So that's good to see, because if that's running from the rotary pump, they've actually got a full-size solenoid there to allow that water from mains pressure to be controlled. They haven't gone to a cheaper, smaller one. There is another smaller one there which looks like it's the auto fill into the main boiler. Anyway, I'll have to double check a bit deeper on that one, but it's a little bit smaller, which is fine because it's not handling that mains pressure load. So that's cool. You do have the full stainless steel chassis that we'd see on other machines, which is great. All the fittings, the cabling, all looks to be, yeah, really good, well labelled. I can see down the side of the front here that there is a full-size capacitor. I can't read what it is, but it looks like to be that 7 or the 6 that a full-size rotary pump's needed. Down the bottom here, I can see that there is a commercial rotary pump in there, but without taking the sides off, I can't see the electric motor. I'm going to assume it's a smaller size, because to fit a big one in there would be a little bit tricky, but that's expected for this kind of machine. So does it suit what I've been thinking? Yes, it is. It is as good inside as it is on the outside. The only thing I would say is that from a feel perspective, maybe a little bit thinner grade on the actual the machine on the outside, but other than that, it is definitely representing good quality on the inside from a componentry perspective. So after having a look inside and being confident there's some great componentry inside, that I'm confident through this LLC that Lelit call their control panel, that we can actually make some good control in being able to brew coffee better. So inside here, you've got the ability to change the front boiler and the rear boiler temperatures, and you can also get into a set pressure brew profile. Now that is where this machine definitely stands out from other machines. You could buy yourself a machine with a HX and that has a E61 style group and buy yourself a flow control and a gauge and pop it in, that's fine. It would be the manual control. As you vary this to the right, you're going to get 9 bar of pressure. As you come back, essentially you're screwing in basically a piston and reducing the flow going through into the water and into the coffee bed. So even though you've got 8 bar or 9 bar coming from the pump, this is going to reduce it depending on where you have the gauge. So that's pretty easy to do. It's about a $400 or $500 option to buy and put into any other machine. But what Lelit have done through the LLC has actually got a digital profile. There are 2 settings which you can go into the menu and you can have a set amount of time for low pressure. So when you activate your brew lever, you might say, I want 10 seconds of low pressure. That will apply it to the coffee bed, and then it will ramp up to the full pressure, which is the 9 bar from the rotary pump. Then you, on the second setting, you can have, let's say from 30 seconds, have that reduced back down to a low pressure. So essentially that gives you a pressure profile of low to high and low again that you could just repeat easily. So maybe you're the coffee geek in the family and you want to play with this as a manual process, but the other people in the family just want a great coffee. They could essentially just lift the brew lever and it will repeat that profile for them, giving them a tasty cup. So there's room for the geek and room for the general user to enjoy a great coffee on this machine. So as you cycle through the menu, use the minus button to go through and the plus button to select your options, either on, off, or adjust the temperatures. You've got the eco mode there as well, so you can put the machine to sleep after a certain amount of time, and it does have a long time there. So if you wanted to start coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning, have it turn off by 12, you can easily set that up. As you cycle through further, you're going to be able to change the front and rear brew boilers, and you're also going to see how many coffees the machine has made as well. So whether that's something you want to keep track of, it's not a bad little feature, but it's there as well. And when you're brewing, you do activate your brew lever, it becomes a timer. It's nice and clear and clean and a good size, so it's going to allow you to check those times for your shots quite easily. And a cool feature that we're starting to see on a lot of other machines is what they're calling active shot, or finish your shot technology. Basically what that means is when your reservoir runs out of water, it'll get to a point where it says, hey, your water tank is empty. But essentially the machine does have a little bit of water in pipes or in the heat exchange that essentially allows you to finish the shot. Because we've all been there. We've been there brewing a shot and it runs out of water and it absolutely sucks. Now, if that's the last coffee of this beautiful single that you've been playing with, you finally dialed it in and you ran out of water, well, that's a pain. So at least that technology is available and it's a good feature, and I think most machines will start to see that in the development in the coming years as well. Just one note there on the customization, you have to order the machine as I've already explained in terms of those set colors of timber and the color of the machine. You can, if you want to change to a light timber instead of a dark timber, buy a separate pack. You can't do that when you pre-order, so you would end up with another kit there. You might be able to sell that off secondhand to somebody else as well. But that's a great option if you do want to customize that little bit extra. You get the kit for the machine, including the feet, but you don't get the timber handle on the tamper that's going to then change and match that as well. So I've been able to play with this machine for quite a few days now, and I must say I'm enjoying it. It's a machine that's been there in the back of my mind for a long time, to being able to compare other machines to this. I've probably downplayed around the quality a little bit in my own head, but to be honest, the quality is here. The value is outstanding at $4,999 currently in Australia. There's no other machine that has dual boilers, the optional colors, all the timber extras here, and the ability to have a manual or a digital pre-infusion set in with rotary pumps. You know, it's outstanding. I've got to give them credit there. Lelit has definitely thrown everything they can in one go, and it's probably making other manufacturers start to think about, well, could they add more value? You know, how can we compete to it? And look, it's definitely a machine that you want to consider when you're looking into this dual boiler range. With 24 months warranty, it's a good confidence to know that the machine's going to be there and looked after in that amount of time. Now, the one little caveat I do want to put in here is stainless steel boilers. Now, if you've got poor quality water, or you have basically a high salt or low pH or high pH or whatever it is, you may have issues with stainless steel. So you do have to have good filtered water going into this machine. We've seen it happen in the commercial environment, so I'd hate for you to have an issue with this machine in the domestic environment. We're definitely seeing a lot more stainless steel boilers coming into the domestic ranges, which is great because they do get away from the copper boilers, but copper never had the issues that we're finding with stainless steel. So make sure you get good filtration. Go find your local water specialist to find out what the water is like, get a test sample, and then use that to get the right filtration for your area to make sure that the machine is looked after for a very long time. So overall, I have enjoyed making coffee on the Lelit Bianca. It definitely has lifted the profile of my thoughts around this machine, the quality of the coffee that we could get via either the variable pressure here or by the digital settings. The steam quality has been great, and I've been really happy with the quality of the product I've been producing. So I can't really say too much negative about the machine. So hopefully that helps you answer some of the questions that you may have had around this machine, and considering it might be your next machine for home. If you do have any other questions, please pop them down below. I look forward to answering those for you. And if you haven't yet, please do like and subscribe, or share this with someone that's looking at getting one of these machines for Christmas. This color is the Golden Sands. It's only available in limited numbers pre-Christmas, as this video is filmed here for Christmas 2024. So jump on our website, artisti.com.au, and pick one up. You can get the same color option in the Mara X, which is the small little baby brother, which is an absolute cracker of a machine as well. But anyway, until I see you next time, thanks very much. I hope this helped you. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.